We have our guest co-host in the studio, and he is a presenter and communication coach who thrives on helping others express themselves with confidence and clarity. We welcome to the show, Flo Akinbiyi. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's my pleasure.
Now, when it comes to communication, I want to start with the mistakes people make. What are the biggest mistakes you think people make when they are trying to communicate?
I think the biggest mistake is actually they don't think about the audience. They think about themselves, they think about their content, and therefore their delivery is not on point. They just speak with a monotone voice, and that's a problem. And of course, the content is not really made for the audience, but for themselves, and that is the #1 mistake.
Do you think in general in life people have an issue of having a conversation, waiting to say what they want to say next, rather than actually listening to what the other person is saying?
It is very true. We think too much about us than to listen and to respond. That's one of the easy things we can all implement in our daily lives.
That's actually wonderful, because I was thinking the same thing right now. While he was asking that question, I was already thinking, what am I going to ask next? No, but seriously though, we were talking earlier on before you joined us about how with communication nowadays, I think a lot of people have lost that skill because we're so busy on our phones, on our tablets. So what do you think are the biggest mistakes that people make with communication now that we're so heavily influenced by the digital age?
Well, if you think about digital, there's a barrier in between us. And what you need to do is you need to focus again on connecting with humans. And if you do that, every communication becomes better because you're focusing on people and how you can connect with them and how you can get your message across to them so they buy into that. And if you engage them, your communication becomes better, a lot better.
But my frustration is now on LinkedIn, everyone using ChatGPT to write their posts, you know. I feel like everyone sounds the same, you know, and you see the hyphens everywhere. We're all guilty of doing it. But how do you actually sound your authentic self when it comes to social media, whether it's LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok? How do you actually sound like your personality?
Well, you got to put in the effort and do the work, right? Instead of just going, here's a prompt about public speaking and now give me a post for tomorrow. Give it a thought, give it some inspiration, and then don't take the first one. Edit it over and over again as you would when it comes to writing a script. You do that. So therefore, if you put in the effort, then you turn a generic content into your own, and that's what we got to do. And too many are just happy with the presentation that they got out of ChatGPT, and then they try to deliver it, but it's never going to work because it's not them.
Because you have to inject a little bit of personality, and you're all about personality, grabbing people's attention, especially when on stage. You've got a lot of stunts, money guns. Tell me about some memorable moments when it comes to stage presence.
So we tried to bring the money gun, but for some reason it didn't work. But I brought a stack of cash, and it's actually, it's fake money. Don't be that excited, okay?
Oh, we got really excited.
So finally getting paid to do the show.
I give you one bill, okay?
Oh, thank you very much.
So here's the story. I was doing a workshop in Algeria, and what happened is the CFO said, we just deliver average presentation. We want to do better. So I gave them a money gun and said, would you ever shoot a money gun in a meeting with your CEO and the entire management? Everybody says, not a chance, you'll lose your job. Then I do this. I throw the money around and I say, everybody, pick up one bill because our company is losing money in every single department. And I want you to write down 3 things, 3 commitments that you can do until next week so we can actually save money. We can only do this together.
Okay.
That's a memorable moment.
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to remember this.
Yeah.
Money all over the studio.
Money in the studio. Exactly. It's a moment that you won't forget. Same goes for presentations or on this stage.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love that. And what tips would you give people that are maybe struggling with finding their voice and finding their confidence and being able to speak out loud and share their ideas?
Well, first of all, you have to come to terms that communication is a skill. I bet everybody who's a professional speaker knows that we didn't become who we are overnight. It's a journey. So therefore you have to start, speak, speak, speak. And then of course you want to invest in learning, and one of the key things that you mentioned is the voice. The voice is key. If you know how to use your voice properly, you can make somebody smile, or you can make somebody quiet, calm. You can even make somebody go crazy. So therefore understand how to use your voice properly. And then of course invest in creating world-class content. That's definitely a key thing.
Content is great, the way you present yourself is great, but there are some people in this world who they just walk into a room and suddenly everyone notices them.
That's
You
so
just have a feeling that they're important, they're there. So I don't know how they do it. Do you have any advice on that when it just comes to presence without even saying a word?
Absolutely. So first of all, think about what are you wearing? Because this is an opportunity. People can judge you, will judge you always, so therefore we can really make sure that we own the impression that we make, or we don't. So therefore think about what you're wearing, and then of course, from the moment that you're walking towards somebody, make sure that you have a great posture, and then you say, hey, you smile at them. You do the first initiation of communication, and that's what works, right? It's easy to walk into a room if you really are here to connect with people.
Absolutely. That walking into the room, looking around. Do I know anyone?
Yeah.
That doesn't really work out. You own the
Or
room.
find
Own
the
it.
corner of the room. Flo, I got to ask you, since we are here in the UAE, it's a global stage, isn't it? There's people from all over the world here, and you want to, when people create content or when you want to speak to people, you want to sound more global, right? How would somebody want to speak powerfully and globally here in the UAE?
Well, the UAE is your perfect launch pad because we've got people from all over the place. How many nationalities are sitting here on this couch, right?
Absolutely.
This is a representation of the UAE. So therefore, you learn how to speak to a global audience. And then we're right in the middle. So whether you want to speak in Asia, whether you want to speak in Africa, whether you want to go to Europe, it's 6-7 hours flight. So therefore, it's easy to use a UAE as your launchpad for a global speaking career, and or even just as a communicator, as an influencer. This is the place to be. The opportunities are here, the people are here, and most of all, we've got the right energy here.
True, true, true.